One of the most challenging and tedious things of any organization, churches or non-churches, is the whole hiring process. Questions like, when do we hire? How do we hire? Who are we going to hire? How are we going to pay for this hire? I mean, the list goes on and on when it comes to the complexities surrounding staffing situations in churches and even non-churches. Today, I want to give you 10 rules to consider when it comes to staffing a church. The first rule is this: you got to pay attention to the big C's. The big C's are chemistry, character, competency, and culture. Let me explain those here for a moment. The first one being chemistry. Chemistry is about getting along. It's about creating unity. It's important when it comes to team chemistry that you can't neglect that, because if one person doesn't connect with another person, it really snowballs and leads the organization down the wrong direction. The next piece being character. And it's just, you want to hire and bring people on your staff that are people of integrity, that you can just trust them. You can trust them with any type of authority, knowing they're going to have your back, that they're going to be there and help move the organization forward. Never compromise character. Next piece is competency. Competency is just, can they do the job? Do they have the knowledge base? Do they understand what it's going to require? And can they fulfill that role? The fourth piece being culture is, do they just fit the culture of our church and of our organization, where we're going? See, one thing that will prove hugely helpful is spend some time thinking about planning. Spend time writing down the kind of staff culture that you're trying to create. The next step, hire people that are going to fit into that culture. One question I always ask myself was simply this: would I want to share a hotel room with this person? If the answer for me was no, I never looked at hiring them, because I knew that there was one of those 4 C's happened to be missing. The second rule is this: develop a compensation philosophy early on. A philosophy compensation should always come before a policy is ever written. And so think through, what does this look like? How are we going to pay people? What is the expectation based on qualifications, experience, education? How are those going to lead us when it comes to hiring? Having those things in writing will only help you in those moments when holes are needing to be filled and you're looking at hiring. The third rule is hire generalists early and specialists later. Those are a part of the church staff in the early stages, need to be people that are flexible. See, they have great bandwidth to oversee really multiple ministries and projects. Only as the church begins to grow and expectations grow, do you need to look at hiring specialists, people that really have a sole focus within the doors of the church or organization. The fourth thing is volunteers really are worth every cent. Consider paying people to be volunteer specialists. Have the idea that every paid staff person and hopefully every volunteer leader should be able to recruit. They need to be able to train, deploy, and encourage teams of volunteers. In fact, this should be in everyone's job description in every church. This is living out the Ephesians 4 model of ministry. Let me give you a helpful tip. Most volunteers don't want to be involved in administrative processes. They want a close contact to life change. So the closer contact that you can give them to life change, the more they'll be fueled for the mission of the church. The fifth rule is don't overstaff. Overstaffing creates so many problems, including budget strain. In doing that, it creates less opportunity for other volunteers. It can create negative impact when staff transition out. In a church plant, you'll want to budget heavy in the early days towards staff. Move as quickly as you can to getting the budget between 50 to 55% of the budget as designated staff. Sixth rule is hire people that you can fire. In other words, don't hire your friends. It's important to count the cost and put some hiring safeguards in place to help you double check each hiring decision that you go through. Seventh rule is don't hurry. It's don't rush into it. Remember that challenging moments are the moments creativity is actually birthed. Moving too quickly to hire can easily backfire when creativity could easily solve the problem and save money and potential relationships. The 8th rule to hiring is hire where you need the most accountability. A few areas will be so crucial to the mission that if you don't get it done on time and with quality, the whole ministry is going to suffer. The clearer your vision, the easier it will be to predict what these hirings will be. The 9th rule when it comes to hiring is hire strategically and keep it balanced. In other words, don't hire just to get an immediate task completed. Keep the big picture in mind. Secondly, know that people you hire either add or they take from the overall budget. You have to kind of follow the money trail. In other words, if you lean too heavily on the administrative side, you're depleting money from the budget without really reproducing teams and volunteers and reaching new people. But if you focus too heavily on pastoral staff, those that are reaching into the community, bringing people into the church, the administrative sides are going to suffer. So it's about finding that unique balance in between the two. The 10th rule is don't neglect God in the process. See, God is more invested in your church than you will ever be. Trust Him. Trust Him to lead you to the timing, to the person for the critical next stage. What I've found is His timing is always perfect.